Hello guys, and welcome to this video. All right, we're going to be looking at loops in C++. So in C++, loops allow us to be able to run a block of code repeatedly, right? To run a block of code many times, right? So long as it's fall within some boundary conditions. So we have the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. Now the for loop is used when we know the number of times I want to iterate. So I'm going to do an example of the for loop. So I'll just do for initial value int I is 1, I less than or equals to 5. Then I'm going to have the increment I plus plus. So I just do C out, and it's just saying that iteration value I is, then I'll just do I n line, yeah. So if I just build and run this, right, a simple. So this is the initial statement, this is the condition, and this is the increment, right? So you see it just prints me from 1 to 5, right? So if I want it to be strictly less than 5, I can do this. So this will be strictly less than 5. So that's the for loop, as simple as it is. Now I'm going to go to the while loop, and we're going to be able to build so let me just do the while loop. So this becomes a comment, right? So let me make it as a comment, and now I'll do the while loop. So while loop in C++. So now this while loop is used when we want to repeat a certain condition. We want to repeat a block of code when some certain condition is valid, right? We don't know when some certain condition is true, so we must not know the number of times that we want to iterate. So I have int I is equals to 1, and now I have while I is less than or equals to 10, right? You see, so I can just take this statement here and print it again, right? So I just print out the statement. So if I run, voila. Oh, okay, now you see we go into an infinite loop, right? This is another type of loop. See, it's running, it's just printing 1. Why? I'm going to show you the reason why this happens. Because at this point we didn't do the increment I plus plus. So I remains 1, and 1 is always less than 10, right? So if I run it again, we won't fall into an infinite loop. So always check on that. Sometimes you might end up falling in an infinite loop. So the program runs successfully and run from 1 to 10, right? So now the next type of loop that we're going to look at is the do while loop. Now the do while loop is similar to the while loop, but just that with the do while loop, we are sure that our loop is going to run for at least one time. So I'm going to do do. Then I just take out these statements here, and I'm going to print the same statements here. But now let me do C out. I just want to differentiate the results up there. Good. So, and then now, so this will print at least once while we now check the condition, right? That I is less than or equals to 5. So I'll run it expecting. Okay. Iteration value of I is 11. Oh, okay. Now, because I'm using the same I that started from here, and the new value of I is now 11, right? So when we get to the screen here, when we get to the screen, when it gets down there, I since I is not less than 5, so what I can do here is I can initialize int j, okay, is equals to 1, right? So instead of doing this, I'm going to do k here, and I'm going to do k here, right, and k here.